What up, fam? Welcome to Living For You, the YouTube channel. It is your favorite brother, your favorite uncle, your favorite cousin, your favorite nephew, your best friend's best friend. It's me, Dr. Larry, and once again, welcome to the channel, Living For You, the YouTube channel. This is a safe space, a positive place in which we come weekly, and multiple times a week actually, just to engage one another and show each other some love and grow as people and unify ourselves holistically, internally, and all that other stuff. So thank you guys for coming. Those of you who have recently subscribed and those of you who have been continuous subscribers, you are now family. Those of you who have been continuous subscribers, you are always family, and I love you just like I love family. And so therefore you come and you continue to share my videos and love the videos and like the videos and all of this love. I appreciate this, and the more we get this, the more we can grow. So go ahead, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and go ahead if you are watching this video, go ahead and like the video, and you're more than free to share it wherever, on whatever platform that you want to share it on. Also, those of you who are new, if you do not know, I am Dr. Larry Smith. I'm a certified life and spiritual coach, amongst a whole host of other things that I do. If you kind of follow the channel more, you'll get a glimpse of a lot of things, a diverse range of things that I do. So go ahead and do that and learn more about me. But if you want to know specifically what I do, what my business is, you can actually go to www.liveforyoucoaching.com. That is www.liveforyoucoaching.com. You can learn about my business, which is Live For You Coaching, a life coaching business in which I help people navigate their way through trauma and learn to live more presently, internally, and to feel more, and all that other good stuff. So go out there and learn about me. This is actually a fabulous time, you guys. We are growing, like I said, and expanding. Tomorrow you should be watching this on Sunday. Tomorrow I will be releasing, if you're watching it today, it's Monday. Today I will release my book. My book is called The Freedom Prescription, or The Freedom Prescription, depends on how you perceive it. Those of you who are in the spiritual source sense, you know what is. But it's a book that is kind of basically different things that I have seen over the years, that I have been able to use to get towards the healing of my trauma. And so I kind of go through a few of those things, give a few of those examples, a few of those prescriptions that I've gotten from other spiritual and cultural and social leaders that have really been useful for me. So wherever you can get the books are on Amazon. You'll be able to get them on the website soon. Wherever the books are sold, please get you a copy of The Freedom Prescription, navigating your way through your traumas so that we can heal and be a better person. That's what we're trying to do. So make sure you get a copy of the book. Support, 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 so that we can do more. The better the world can be by us working internally and dealing in our own internal stuff. The external world is going to be a reflection of where we are holistically, internally. All right, so anyway, to the video. What we're dealing with today, obviously you guys know I love Iyanla Fix My Life. And if you go back to some of the older videos, as some of you have, my most popular videos that on my channel thus far are really my reviews from a life coach's perspective of Iyanla Fix My Life. And it's a very good show. I enjoy the show. I hate that this is her 8th and last season, but I do understand that there is a time for everything, and sometimes you have to transition out of what you're doing to move to the next level or to continue your other stuff. And what a lot of people don't realize is Iyanla Vanzant is actually a life coach. She actually does have a life coaching school. She gives seminars, she gives presentations, she teaches classes, she coaches some people, she has people who work for her. So it's actually a business that she has to run. And so filming Fix My Life is an additional extra amount of work. And I know from filming YouTube just in my home that it takes work to even just do this type of production, let alone a mega production for OWN and all kinds of other things. So I can understand her transition, or her desire to transition out of that. But it's going to be severely missed, because I see what it has done in my community. I see what it has done among my friends, and even within my family and those who are close to me. I see what it has done. It has given people the okay to get help, whether it's therapy, whether it's a life coach, or whatever. It has given people the encouragement and the strength to be able to do that. Something that was deeply avoided within my community so many years. So I enjoy it and I think it's great. So we're going to do our Life Coach's Perspective review of Iyanla Fix My Life, Season 8, Episode 1. And I actually have my phone, my old phone, but my phone where I take my notes. So if I look down, don't think I'm crazy. It's just my notes and my perspective and things that I jotted down as we went. The episode opens up with LisaRaye McCoy. Now you guys, you can go back and watch another video I did, and I can probably link it into this video somehow, of the episode where LisaRaye McCoy, her daughter Kai, and her mother were on the episode. Well, LisaRaye felt as though she needed more. She even said that. I watched her on Fox Soul. She does a show for other co-hosts, Selena Johnson, Claudia Jordan, and Vivica Fox. And she actually said, she enjoyed the experience so much that she had with Iyanla, but she felt like she needed more. And so this is her getting more. This is her going on. But I agree with Iyanla. As she said in the episode, she felt as though they did it backwards, where they should have worked with LisaRaye McCoy first, and then come back and work with her family, because then she'd be better suited for it. But anyway, Iyanla says a quote, and I want to quote. She says, "When it comes to personal growth and healing, there's a distinction between being finished and complete. When you are finished, you have reached the end of your capacity to receive the things that in a productive way. But when you are complete, you have turned every stone, finished every task, received everything you can, done all you can do, and can walk away knowing that it is done." Right? So many people, we fail to realize that our capacity to receive healing is only limited to where we are currently, right? And I have to remember this as a coach. And I also have to remember this as an older brother. I have to remember this as a teacher. I have to remember this as a partner. I just have to remember this in life. And I think everybody, in whatever capacity in life that you are in, have to remember that people you are dealing with, and including yourself, you're only able to grow and to expand to the level of capacity of where you are at the moment. So if you're not ready for the total growth, nothing you're going to do, go to a coach, go to a therapist, learn, read, whatever, is going to really move you to that next level until you are ready for a thing to be completed. So many times we are only ready for it to be finished, because in the moment we are finished with what's going on. But to have it complete, that's another thing. And so Iyanla realized that in LisaRaye, and LisaRaye clearly, very intuitively realized that in herself, that she was only finished with the moment because she had reached the capacity of what she can do at that moment. And so she returned, and she said she felt as though she didn't receive enough. She felt heavy many times. She wanted to get rid of that heaviness. She actually had things she said herself that she wanted to shed, which was an insight. See, here's the thing I'm learning as I'm watching LisaRaye, and I witness other people. She's very insightful as to what she needs. And a lot of us are very insightful as to what we need. It's not that many times we don't know what we need to do to get to the healing that we need to get to. A lot of times it is that we are not understanding what will it take to get us there, or we're not willing to let go certain things to get us there. We can see the destination, just don't know how to take the journey, what we need to do. So she was there, and Iyanla realized that she was not complete as well. And so she was kind of happy that she came. Her daughter didn't come this time. Of course, her mom probably refused to come in general, but her daughter didn't come because the daughter felt as though, if I'm not going to be compensated for my time, I'm not going to waste my time, which I guess is a legitimate thing. Iyanla didn't press it and ask anything, because in reality, she is being compensated for her time. That compensation comes from healing. Healing is a form of compensation, but for some people it has to be monetary, and that's just probably where her mind is. And so Iyanla, like I says she does things backwards, and they realize that eventually Lisa's going to have to come to the conclusion that a lot of the ways that she responds to other people in her life, in everything, is in relation to how she was being, how she dealt with or responded to what her father had done. And so they both came to a realization, which Iyanla was proud in the last episode, that LisaRaye was the other woman. Well, one of the other women in her dad's life. And her mom had this competitive thing about her being that daddy's girl. you know. And so they came to that realization a long time ago. She was angry inside about losing her father. She admitted that to Iyanla, that she was angry that her father was killed, that it wasn't an accident, that it wasn't just, something other than he was killed. And Iyanla said, you're going to have to shed that. You're going to have to let that go. Because if you stay in that angry place, you're going to ruin your legacy. And I think it was LisaRaye who had said she knew the consequence of holding on to that anger. It would ruin her legacy. So there was some hard internal stuff, according to Iyanla, that LisaRaye had to work herself through. And she had to be able to sit in what Iyanla calls the valleys. And I've heard this before, not just through Iyanla, but I think Iyanla wrote a book talking about in the meantime. And in the meantime, she talks about being in the valleys. But I've heard that saying too. It's also very biblical, in which our darkest moments, our work is done in the valleys. I generally say that diamonds are pressurized as coal in the darkest places, but when they come out, they're shining. And so it's the same meaning, in that our toughest times, the things that we don't always want to address or deal with or sit in, are the things that we need to address, deal with, and sit in to get to the place that we need to be so that we can be present. And a lot of times when I'm coaching my clients, I have to pull them through the stuff they don't want to see. I have to pull them through the stuff they don't want to address in order to get them to where they want to go. And I let them know, I say, you see the destination. If you want to get to the destination, this is a way that you got to go through. And sometimes you got to go through them. And we go through them sometimes in life. And as Iyanla say, we miss the work. We miss the lessons in the valleys. We just go through the valleys and then move on. Life is about lessons, and life is about blessings. Those are the only two things you will get out of this life: a lesson or a blessing. And sometimes they're combined. And so because the ultimate is the blessing, even the lesson turns into a blessing. But that's what you get out of life. And so you have to learn stuff that you go through. The valley, there are different valleys, and Iyanla goes through, she shows her the stairs of the different valleys, like the valley of understanding, the valley of acceptance, all of these different things. And she has to go through it. She gave a good Maya Angelou quote, where she said that courage is doing what you know needs to be done before you are forced to do it, right? That's courage. Courage means that, you know what? I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I know it needs to be done. How many of us here today in this conversation between you and me know that there are things in your life that you need to heal up, clean up, deal with, address, work through, and you haven't done it? Well, it's because you haven't shown the courage, because no one should force you to do it. You shouldn't be forced to do it, because you will have to do it. If it needs to be done, you will have to do it. But the thing is, you shouldn't be forced to do it. You should just be doing it because it needs to be done. And so she says, Miss Iyanla tells her she has to do the work. She also noted a few things about them, the family in general, specifically LisaRaye, but their family in general, is that they don't really show how they're feeling. They don't really express how they're feeling. They're more cerebral. They think things logically, I guess, or illogically, or whatever the case may be, but it's all up here and none of it is down here. And Iyanla said you have to think about how you feel. She said, do you hear how that sounds? Do you hear how broken that sounds? It sounds rehearsed. It sounds, like there's nothing. She said there's nothing there. She said it's a wall. She feels nothing. And she said it sounds so rehearsed. It's in your head. She said, think about what you just said. You said you have to think about how you feel. She said, as long as you're thinking about how you feel, you will never get internally inside to your heart to feel how you are feeling. She said, and then she said, we got some healing to do. The valleys aren't going to be easy. She said, you don't do the healing at the mountaintop. That's where you're trying to get. You do the healing in the valleys, and you got to go in for that. That's not here on the crown, in the head. That's here. And a lot of us have a difficult time going to our heart. A lot of us stick to our head knowledge. A lot of us stick to what we think. We don't ever express how we feel, but we have to let it out. We have to go through that valley in order to find our healing. And so then Iyanla gave her the rating scale from 1 to 5, 1 being not her at all, nowhere near who she is, and 5 being who she embodied. And she just it's that she embodied the whole thing that's being mentioned. And so she goes through a different list of several things, like you're a patient person, you don't get angry, all these things. And LisaRaye came out all fours, which basically saying that she felt as though she was in a better place than she actually was. And Iyanla said, we have a lot of work to do because you are unaware, truthfully. She didn't say this, but that's ultimately what it was. LisaRaye was unaware of actually where she was in her life. And so then the conversation goes off to who's the first man to ever break your heart. And it turns out that it's LisaRaye's father. You know, she was everything he wanted, the apple of his eye. He was her biggest cheerleader. She felt such a connection with her father. Her father, who, by the way, was in a wheelchair pretty much all of her life. She was very much a young baby, newborn baby, when he was paralyzed. So she only knew him in a wheelchair. And so in her mind, she felt as though she had to take care of him. In fact, she gives an example of how she didn't believe he was actually paralyzed. And she actually threw him out of the wheelchair and he couldn't get up. And that trauma, that traumatic experience of that made her feel as though she had to take care of her father. Iyanla didn't dig too deep in that, but that also connected to why she had this love affair and this protection and this defense of her father, because she felt I had to protect him. In many ways, she felt sorry. And so sometimes we defend indefensible behaviors as she defended her father cheating on her mother because we feel sorry for someone. And if you're not in touch with your feelings and you're not digesting your feelings, you do that. You're living in that delusional, state. And so she seeing something that she saw was out of order, as Iyanla put it, her dad cheating on her mom, excusing it, accepting it, tolerating it, accommodating it like she did with her dad. LisaRaye was doing it now in her life with her daughter. And possibly with the situation with her mother. Her daughter would say, I forgot. And Iyanla kind of had to push LisaRaye to express how she really felt about her daughter consistently saying she forgets things. And she ultimately said she didn't believe nothing. She said it was full of crap. I don't believe any of it. But she wasn't saying that at first. She's like, well, I know she forgets. But Iyanla was like, how do you feel? What do you feel? You're neglecting your feelings. And so she finally acknowledged that she felt as though her daughter was full of it. She doesn't really forget. She's just doing things. She's just not wanting to do things she doesn't want to do. And so she said, you do the same thing. You excuse her, your daughter, how you excused your father as he disrespected your mother. And you just accommodated it, looked over it. LisaRaye was more mad at the fact that her dad had one of his illegitimate children go to school with her than he was for cheating and stepping out on her mother. So it was very, very much an interesting thing. And like I said before, she tends to rationalize in her head, as many people do, tries to understand things in her head instead of just embracing her reality of how she feels and expressing it and acting on that feeling. And there is a fine line between impulsively acting on feelings and being all heady. Those are the extreme opposites that we usually fall into. And you have to find a middle ground in which you rationalize your feelings, but you also acknowledge them because they are indicators as to where you are and where you are needing to go. Period. And so we find out from LisaRaye that she feels like her innocence was violated. Iyanla has her lay on the floor. Iyanla does a lot of great exercises. I've said this before in a previous video. She has a lot of great exercises that I think are very useful. And this is one. She has her lay down and kind of just revisits, all of the stuff. When did you lose your innocence? It was when there was a fire in the house and that she felt like she was alone and nobody was there. And then she felt lonely when her dad left, and she felt like the other family was taking her dad and all of this other stuff. And then she felt betrayed from her father's betrayal, and she wound up marrying a man who is just like her father, right? Not faithful, can't give her the fullness of who he is, and cheats on her and all these other things. And so, so you see a situation in which Iyanla points out to her and say, how about you feel a certain way because you feel everybody betrays you because your husband betrays you. I'm sorry, your father betrayed you. You felt that your sister, the brat, LisaRaye had a big issue with her sister for not telling her about her girlfriend first. She felt she betrayed her. She felt her daughter betrayed. And Iyanla says you feel all this betrayal, even when it doesn't even exist sometimes, because of your father's betrayal. And then LisaRaye was like, huh? Like she kind of blacked out. And Iyanla was like, what was that? And she was like, I blacked out. I wasn't listening. And Iyanla said, how often do you do that in life? How many people get that blackout? That sense of you not being there. She said, it is in all your personal relationships and everything that you black out, that you're not there. Right? And LisaRaye, and so she says, if all your personal business and your personal relationships have issues, it's you, boo. The universe is trying to tell you something. If everybody and everybody around you got issues with, then you might need to recognize that the issue might be you. I got a video on that too somewhere down the line in my video playlist, so you guys can go and see that too, where I talk about the problem might be you. And you might be unaware of that. And LisaRaye clearly was unaware of that. And so LisaRaye starts popping up, am I supposed to be everywhere and everybody needs to be? You know, she starts popping off, doing her thing. And Iyanla said, hold up. She says, see, Iyanla says, what you don't understand is you are not present. You are not present for the people in your life. Nor are you present for yourself. And that's, she said, the lights are on, but ain't nobody home. And see, that's a really, that is such a really, 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 really good point. Is that a lot of times we are not present in life. Part of my mission and my goal as a coach is to help people to be present, to be aware of the now moment, to be fully engaged in it, sensory. Like ultimately smelling the flowers while the flowers are in front of you and acknowledging their beauty and feeling their texture, you know, while it's in front of you. And that plays out into your lives. People, you're there, but you're not there. LisaRaye didn't notice that her daughter had felt hurt by feeling abandoned by her when she sent her off to that school. You know, she didn't realize that she didn't really feel from her heart. And even the way she even said, you know I love you, as you better know I love you, as opposed to I love you, genuinely. Her daughter received it a certain way. And LisaRaye, like I said, is very perceptive. I learned that she's a Libra, but she's Libra with some Virgo tendencies. I actually felt her Virgo-ness, but I get the rationalization of the Libra-isms in her too. And so she's very perceptive on where she needs to be to grow as a person. She knows her destination. She just didn't have the tools to get to the destination or to work her way towards the destination. And she was in a position of a lot of people are in. She wants things out of life, but she's out of touch with how to ask and to say and to demand what she wants for whatever rationalization that she's projecting. And a lot of times it's the image. We don't want to look a certain way, so we don't express certain things. But at the end of the day, if it gets you what you want out of life, if it gets you the happiness and the peace that you want out of life, you got to express it. You got to let all images down, and you got to stand in your truth of who you are. My lights are going out. You got to stand in your truth of who you are. And that's super, 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 super important. So LisaRaye, that's the lesson that LisaRaye had to learn for herself. And so it's a very interesting episode. This season hopefully is going to be a very interesting season. I'm so happy to see LisaRaye continue her own personal growth, because you know a lot of times when we're in a track to grow, we try to say, well, if my significant other grows, or if my children grow, or if my parents grow, or if my friends grow, if my job gets better, if I get more money, we try to find all kinds of external things that we figure needs work in our lives. And if only those things get it right, then that's going to facilitate our growth. But what you got to realize, and I think LisaRaye gets this, growth is an internal job. Internal job. And if you're not growing on the inside, then nothing around you changing will change you. So hopefully she does the work and she gets to where she needs to be, just like I hope with all of us, we see the destination, and that you take the steps and get the tools, maybe life coaching or whatever you may need, reading a book, taking a job regularly, exercising, whatever you need to do to get to the destination that you know you want to be, that you can see. just get the tools you need to figure out how to get there. And so I look forward to sitting here each week going over the episodes of Iyanla Fix My Life from a life coach's perspective, one life coach watching another life coach, as well as her clients, and just having the discussions and engaging. Feel free to leave comments in the comment section. Feel free to like, share, subscribe to the channel. And as I always say in every video, I love you, and I will see you in the next video.